I might be home a bit early because I'm with half the crew aren't coming in until lunch. So I might get away a bit. Yeah, somewhere around there. More cases yesterday than ever before. Make sure she doesn't test if she does. Polish, coming, thank you, face. What, just one? No, he did it for me in a chest. There's one. Sort of. There should be 7 in that box. That's all right there, isn't it?
Sand all over the cup.
Yeah, long day I suppose. It's a long week, yeah.
Not those. I was making away with these toes. The high around the back.
Yeah.
Just fold up chair.
Yeah.
just about talking about the borders a little bit for the height and the clear spot.
Just attend.
Okay.
Right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. 15 minutes before we start. 15 minutes, this is a 15-minute call before we start the Grand Prix Dressage.
It's been a seismic time for all of us. Around the world, across the country, and here in London. Lost loved ones, lockdowns, life turned upside down. And for the first time in its history, our beautiful event was cancelled. Yet sport and community has been our beacon.
He's got it! He's got it!
And we've played our part. Now we can welcome him back to a new home in his fine city. Welcome to Excel. Welcome back to one of the greatest equestrian events in the calendar. Welcome to the London International Horse Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. We are delighted to welcome you to the London International Horse Show 2021. Very good morning. We're delighted to welcome you here back to the London International Horse Show. Totally new surroundings, fabulous surroundings here at Excel, and we are here to excel over our first day and the next 5 days of amazing mix of competition, entertainment, and of course Christmas is on the way. Gareth Jenkins alongside me, Steve Wild, to take you through this morning's classes, and it is dressage. We're starting with Gareth.
Certainly is, Steve. It is a fabulous new venue, but it is going to be the same world-class competition. And no better place to start than in the world of dressage, as the best of British, the best from the world come here once to London to get this next leg of the FEI Dressage World Cup Series underway. It's going to be the short test, the Dressage World Cup Series. It's Grand Prix morning and some fabulous combinations to enjoy as they come in front of the judges.
Absolutely, and of course some familiar names for you to come, and also welcoming a host of our visitors from around the world competing in the classes here. It is of course the short format Grand Prix supported by Horse and Hand here this morning, part of the 2 stages of the FEI World Cup, of course culminating tomorrow night as well with the freestyle, which you can follow here in the arena, or join us on BBC and all the various ways of following that. Looking forward to that. But again, from the British end of things, we've got some very strong competitors coming, and lovely to see Richard Davison and of course Charlotte Dujardin in the list.
Certainly is, but of course we got the current leader of the World Cup standings on that Western European League here as well. So it's all to play for as they get started in London. And it's not just dressage today, though. As we look through what is a hugely impressive programme, we're going to see the start of 5-star world-class show jumping, and of course the third of the World Cup Series here is the all-important driving.
Absolutely, start with extreme driving into our afternoon performance here as well. But let's talk dressage for a moment. Short format, Grand Prix, and of course that means it's a set pattern.
Certainly is, and the judges, of course, awarding the marks. We've got 5 of the very best. The short format now very much the way forward on the opening day of these World Cup shows, and that, of course, sends them forward then into the freestyle. That's where the points will be awarded for the World Cup League come Saturday night.
Absolutely, this kindly supported by Horse and Hound, and of course that's a name many of you will know, whether you're following online or through the physical magazine itself, and you can visit their stand here at the London International Horse Show for lots of offers going there in the run-up to Christmas as well. Our thanks to Horse and Hound once again, and of course you can follow on with the weeks to come with them, with all their reviews of here from the London International Horse Show. So, starting to run into the next few stages, got a few minutes away from our FEI Dressage World Cup here in London. Well, it's our pleasure to welcome you to London here for the FEI Dressage World Cup Western European League. Well, fabulous to be into competition. 4 leagues from around the world, making this a truly global series, with the final to come in Leipzig in April in 2022 as one of the most prestigious series on the international dressage calendar as well. A great anticipation. We watch the sessions qualifiers unfold and take us closer to that final. The grace of the sport, as you can see from the screen, and the FEI would wish every athlete competing the best of luck, and also encourage you to be a part of the competition with the FEI E-League downloading Spectator Judging app.
Well, a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to leg 4 of 8 here at the London International Horse Show. The Western European League is well underway. We're midway now in this leg of dressage, top-class dressage, and the start list, as you can see. We start with the first horse down the centre line, representing Greece, and that is Theodora Levanos, and she is first to go of the 15 that come forward. Frederik Wandres is last to go, Duke of Britain, who heads the Western European League so far. And we started off, of course, back in October in Herning, then on to Lyon in France, before Madrid in Spain. We're here in London. It's a very festive, Christmassy feeling, and I am joined by a lady that did Herning, that was also in Madrid,
that you can follow on the competition, not only by sitting, watching and enjoying, but participate as well in your own way. You can get into the judges' seat at the FEI Dressage World Cups, thanks to SIP, SAP and the FEI. And you have the unique chance to judge the competing riders here in London and the incredible qualifier. Well, you can have your scores and see how they compare to our judges. Download Spectator Judging and here at the show and the upcoming competition. Check your judging skills and enjoy the extraordinary fun competition powered by SAP. You can put your scores in. We'll be telling you how you compare to our top professional judges out there as well. Makes it a little bit more fun. And enjoy, as always, stay active within those and download the Spectator Judging app for some amazing prizes.
Well, we arrive here in London. It is the 4th leg of this Western European League, the FEI Dressage World Cup Series. Started in Herning, leg number 1. Of course, a fabulous win there from Catherine Defoe for Denmark, 4th in the league at the moment. Lyon was second up, where we saw the win from Nanna Merrald from Denmark. And then last time out in Madrid, Helen Hannenberger from Germany got her victory on the board. But at the top of the league table at the moment, it is that man from Germany, a former winner here in London. Frederik Wandres is here as well. The leader of the league starts out in this year's event here here at the London International Horse Show. But we're joined by a host of British stars as well, with the likes of Richard Davison, Charlotte Dujardin, and of course Lottie Fry, all in there. So the league is looking all exciting as they head towards the final, and who will get there over the 9 legs this season. But of course, to judge the best, we've got the best when it comes to our judges out there down on the ground. So let's welcome them. We've got, as we look to the screen, the 5 of them with us here today, and we're really grateful. They bring some of the best expertise from around the world, and of course sat out at those positions.
Yeah, it's a big open field, as you say, and we've got the likes of Frederik, who leads the Western European League so far. There is Susan Barra, she's the president of the Grand Jury. In fact, that is our judge at E this morning. That is Suzanne Barra. I knew it was her, but I thought she was president this morning. She's not. They do move around.
We welcome Peter Storr.
That is on tomorrow evening. There's Peter Storr.
And C, our president for the class for France, it is Raphael Seller.
Raphael Seller, he is the president of the Grand Jury, sitting there at C.
From the Netherlands,
then from the Netherlands, it is Edouard de Wolf van Westerrode from the Netherlands. He sits at M.
And at B. And then also from Great Britain,
on the side
we welcome
that is
Stephen
our final
Clark.
Judge. It is the great British Stephen Clark.
A big thank you to all 5, of course, along with their scorers down there.
Very much judging. And Peter Storr,
the privilege and, of course, the expertise to give the marks in the FEI Dressage World Cup. The short
done so much in the world of dressage, road to top level,
we're going to take you through who's coming up for this class this morning.
And now putting back into the sport. I think that's what makes these judges so special.
Absolutely, and actually I've just realised as well,
Theodora
there's lots of other judges that are actually
talent, 20 years
writing
of
for the
age.
judges.
She's been based here in the UK for Greece with Donna DiMaggio as part of our lineup coming
Richard
through
Baldwin
the morning.
as well.
You never miss him in his
Great
suit.
Britain
very
and
fancy
Singapore and Spain in our first group. You can see
it's great to see
just coming up,
those
Tommie
sitting
Visser
with our
of the
top
Netherlands
judges so they
with
can gain even
Genesis
more
Biggehoeven.
experience.
Absolutely. Well, we're just a couple of moments away from the first horse to come into this arena. Now, we've been to Olympia for many, many years. Tash, you've been there, and we've just seen that Gareth Hughes, he's warming up. It's a much bigger warm-up arena. There are no columns to dodge in the warm-up. And interestingly, there's Caroline Chu. She'll be in Trebbiani. To the left-hand side of your screen, that's the Champagne Bar. So the people here, the spectators, can actually watch now much more the warm-up and the final preparations before they come under the tunnel, under the Royal Box, which is just behind us, and into this arena. I'm going to use the word, I've been using it a lot lately. It is capacious. It's a much bigger arena. When you were in London, you felt like the crowd were on the horse with you.
It was quite claustrophobic, wasn't it, in London? I think this is a much more spectator-friendly and horse-friendly arena. There's much more space around the arena, so the horses can hopefully settle in here. And although we're getting bigger crowds in here now as we get closer to the first rider coming in, I think this will be a really lovely, calming atmosphere before the freestyle tomorrow.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's a really good opportunity they've had as well. Arena familiarisation, they were here, they've been working in this arena for the last couple of days. A lot of these horses arrived on Monday afternoon, then yesterday, and then moving forwards into today. Hopefully they'll settle down. Tomorrow will be another atmosphere because it's an evening performance. We've got 7:35 in the evening as our first horse in here for the freestyle, and all 15 going through, of course.
Absolutely, yes. And I think we're seeing our first horse in the arena now.
Yeah, this is our first to go representing Greece. This is Theodora Levanos, 20 years old, as you said, and a rider that has very much used the youth system. She came up through the juniors and the young riders. She medalled in the early part of her career when she was a junior. She's now riding at senior level, and it's great to see that these guys have got the opportunity, and great to see, I have to say, Greece competing on this big world stage.
Yeah, absolutely. She actually is based with Emile Fury in Gloucestershire, so she spends a lot of her time in the UK. She travels quite a lot, but yeah, it's great to see her. And of course, this isn't just her only horse. She's got Robin Vale as well, and she broke onto the scene, I'm sure it was 2019.
It was, yeah, and she rides here, Donna DiMaggio, this 14-year-old by DiMaggio, very well known, of course, and this owned by Emil himself and Theodora. Now, this is the horse that Emil rode quite successfully himself as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he took Dono out to the World Equestrian Games in 2018, and he did pretty well out there. I think he got 72% in the special, so helped that team bring home a medal in WEG.
Well, Theodora Levanos, 20 years old, Dono DiMaggio, our first to go of the 15. An impressive start down the centre line, and you'll see the scores. They'll be trending on the left-hand side of your screen as we go through the test. And don't forget, if you want to judge along, then you can download the Spectator Judging app, and that is in the Google Play Store or in the App Store on your smartphone. I've had to learn that so many times. I'm such a technophobe, but I've had to learn that.
I'm so proud of you, Spencer.
Thanks.
Yeah, looking really good. She's actually had a break from riding this horse for a couple of years, and actually she had an injury last year. She was diagnosed with osteomyelitis just a couple of days after competing in Neumünster in 2020. It's a deep bone infection in her femur, so she had a lot of time off. So it's great to see her back in the arena, looking good in the half passes. Good crossing. Just losing a little bit of activity, I feel, there. Lost the balance, just kicked out at the arena. But a lovely square hold.
Very nice square hold. It's interesting watching, and you just watching the Grand Prix and then watching the freestyle. Sometimes the riders, they come in a little bit on the quiet side, and going first as well, 20 years old at this very special Christmassy International. You know, when you come in here, you've got all eyes on you.
Absolutely.
We haven't got the biggest crowd, but they are slowly pouring in. It's nerve-wracking.
Absolutely. I spoke to Theo last night, and she said she was really nervous, and you know, first rider in at a new venue, you don't know how your horse is going to react, but luckily this horse has a lot of experience. You could see she lost a bit of the straightness in the piaffe. It actually got better as she went on, so hopefully she can expect a better piaffe at the end, but lovely relaxation here in the walk. A clear over track. Currently sitting on 68. This walk section in this short Grand Prix really is incredibly short. This is a really tight turn here as well. You can see just such a short section of extended walk and the short collected walk as well.
The zigzag is a really tough movement to ride as well, and you know, you've got the strides across the arena and then back to this final three, the flying change, and then direction change again, and it's a never-ending thing. The queen of the zigzag, Charlotte Dujardin, she will be out later on with her Olympic and European medalist Gio.
Lovely just a mistake there in the twos. That's such a pity. Just lost the rhythm there going into the canter pirouette. And then the one times now on the centre line. So this is where there's nowhere to hide in front of those judges.
So the 4.4 there for the two tempies with that mistake. And unlike the freestyle, you don't have anywhere to make those marks up, and it's one of those things, just to do it, move on, where's my next 10?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to ride each movement and forget about any mistakes that you make. Could have maybe gone for that extended canter a little bit more, was a little conservative there. You can just see so much quality with this horse. So she's coming down the final centre line. Wonderful active hind leg, beautifully straight on the centre line. How can she maintain that straightness?
Oh, that's your fault.
Just, I know, I jinxed it. Coming down into her final salute. Lovely passage. Oh, no, I can't. Jinxed it again.
Natasha, baby.
I'm so sorry, but look at that halt. Beautiful square halt.
Very, very well done indeed. The first to come forward.
Well, great starts for this, the Grand Prix shorts. It is a very quick test. It's over and done with very, very quickly. I just see here Emil down here at the entrance to the arena. I've been watching Theodora's test. He will have seen what happened. She will know. They'll go away, they'll debrief and learn from that and come back for the freestyle tomorrow.
Absolutely, and there was lots in there to like. It was a really, really lovely, harmonious test. Just a couple of small blips. Here we can see the half passes. Again, could have just been a little more supple in those half passes. Like to see it a bit more bend. It
was interesting because you said that they were nice half passes. I just thought at the beginning she was a little bit safe.
Yes.
The half pass could have had a little bit more pizzazz about it, and could have covered a little bit more ground and had a bit more air time. But we're not sat up there. You know, it is nerve-wracking going first. She's been warming up with the likes of Gareth Hughes and the like. There comes the scores. They're just coming in, and it'll be around the 60, I would think 66, will it? 67.
Yeah.
What is her PB at this level? It's about that, isn't it? Anyway, here it is. 66.632 for Theodora Levanos, our first to go, Don DiMaggio, and the range of marks from 62 all the way up to 67%.
Yeah, her PB is 67.022, so pretty much in line with that, but that's her first short Grand Prix as well.
Yeah, but also if you think about that being 66% and her PB 67% and the mistakes that she made in that last centred line, the two-time changes.
There's a 70 in there.
There is.
Netherlands is going to be second on our list of 15 here this morning and making his debut here in London through that FEI World Cup competition. Previously competing here in the UK at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, riding the 10-year-old by Jazz, Genesis Begin Hoeveer is for the Netherlands. Our second of the morning is Tommie Visser.
Well, our next to go, this is Tommie Visser. Tommie riding Genesis Bengenova. And he represents the Netherlands with this 10-year-old by Jazz, the Damsire Silvano, Dutch bred, owned by Statutari de Bergy and Julie Raymakers.
I'm really glad you're here commentating today, because when I was making my notes, I was not looking forward to saying this horse's name. So Tommie Visser, and I'm not even going to try and say Genesis Beginhof.
Yeah, Genesis Bengenova.
So a young horse, just 10 years old. KWPM by Jazz, looking very, very impressive. This horse so naturally uphill. Lots of expression in the extended trot. Just would like to see that frame extend as well, just quite tense through the frame. Yeah, a couple of 6.5s from the judges for that extended trot.
You see the difference in the half part, a little bit of a break in the rhythm that way, but just how much more air time and ground cover this half pass has got.
But Theodora had better scores.
Did she really? Yeah.
She did. I think it's the tension that the judges are picking up on.
Exactly, and the break in the rhythm, and he's already kicked that board out there down at the bottom end.
I think that's the kick that Theodora
Oh,
had,
is it? And no one's put that back?
Place.
It's a bit annoying.
Just dropping the pole there in the rein back. Nicely on the spot in the Piaffe. Again, just breaking in the rhythm slightly. That's really going to be pulling his marks down. 6s and 6.5s for the transitions, but lovely relaxation in the walk. Just maybe take that stretch a little more. I was expecting the walk to not be as good, actually, because of the tension in the trot. I was expecting there to be a lot more tension in the walk.
Another rider that's come up through the youth programme, and it's interesting because I saw this rider, Tommie, I saw him at the Young Horse Championships, and all of his horses, unfortunately for you, all have that Benganova as the last name as a prefix, all of his horses.
Oh, gosh. I better learn how to say it then in case I see another one. Again, just the tension showing in the changes. Just want to see more relaxation over the back. It's just very rigid, isn't he? Just want to see more swing.
And this is where we might see that tension creeping in again, with the connection and the throughness in the change. But actually the 2 times have been okay. They haven't got they're not the most expressive, they're not the biggest scoring changes that one has ever seen, but they were safe and they were clean, and you know, that's very important. Absolutely.
And actually I think this is where the Grand Prix works so well, because you can give the horses confidence in this setting and then come out and pull out all of the stops in the freestyle. Using some straightness there. Better
11.
Towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this horse has actually grown in confidence the further they've gone on, and he's only 10 years old as well, so very much in the beginning stages of his Grand Prix career. And these short tests, there's so much that comes up so quickly as well. For a young horse, it's a lot, isn't it?
It is an awful lot. I mean, it comes up quickly for us commentators, and it definitely comes up quickly for the riders.
Again, in that canter, you'd like the frame to stretch as well as everything else, and he just holds himself. I think he does. He's looking all the way around the arena, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is just about giving the horse exposure to these kind of atmospheres. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes out tomorrow in the freestyle. As you say, we haven't really got so much of a crowd here at the moment, but tomorrow night I think it's a sellout.
Is it really? And we're sat for once right in the middle of the crowd as well.
We are. We're very lucky. We're actually just behind where he's riding down now.
Yeah. And if he can just hold on to this, he should just go ahead of Theodora, because this is where she made the quite big mistake on that final centre line, and this horse has kept it together.
He has, yeah. It was just that little spook in the second canter pirouette. A couple of breaks in the rhythm, but much smaller mistakes than Theodora had. So he should be really pleased with that. And again, he's just 10 years old, this horse, so plenty to look forward to. He's so naturally uphill, and you can see a lot of expression in there. He just needs to take a breath and relax.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for taking a deep breath, and the further he went on, the better he got in places. But then that last canter on the diagonal line was a little bit tight, was a little bit you know, he just could have extended his frame as well as the canter stride. Yeah. But a lot to like for this horse.
Absolutely.
Oh, another spook just walking out the arena, you know, he just is constantly looking around. Yeah. But just so nice to see a 10-year-old. And this is what impressed you, I think, was the walk, because you thought he was going to be quite sensitive in the walk, but actually let go, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And that might be something that he can learn from this. I think if I was him, I'd come in walk and just allow the horse to relax. And that's where you can see they had the mistake there in that second canter.
And shaking his head as well at the same time. Well, he takes the lead, 67.605 for Tommie Visser and Genesis Benganova, and the range of marks all the way from 65 up to 70%. So quite a range in the marks from our 5 judges, but that's what it's all about. They're sitting in different positions all the way around the arena, and we will see a lot of it. Well, next to go is Gareth Hughes. Gareth, he rides KK Dominant here today. And great to see Gareth here. He's got a number of brilliant top horses, and we just have to say as well, huge congratulations to daughter Ruby, who won the Tommy Hilfiger Rising Star. You know, she was just amazing. She's had a brilliant year. And of course, today's dressage is brought to you by Horse and Hounds, and we must just give a shout out to Horse and Hound, because it was the Horse and Hound Awards dinner.
It was.
We were there.
We were there.
And it was a brilliant evening. But this man has been such an instrumental part of the world of dressage and the British dressage team for so many years, ridden at European Championships for many years, and he's had some brilliant horses. He's such a good ambassador, now 50 years old, young I should say, 50 years young. And this 12-year-old stallion, owned by Claudine and Jessica and Martin Cole and Gareth himself, KK Dominance for Great Britain.
Yeah, of course, he was a reserve rider out in Tokyo, which is such a difficult place to be. But he did such a great job, and then was part of the team for the Europeans, and they brought home team silver, didn't they?
Yeah,
so
it was
fantastic,
brilliant.
Fantastic results for Gareth. Lovely correct steps in the extended trot. Not quite the expression that we saw from the last horse, but so much more relaxation.
Yeah, this is a 12-year-old by Diamond Hit, the dam sire Ruben Royal. And KK Dominant, a horse I know he thinks a lot of, and I mean he has got some super horsepower at home at the moment.
Yeah, he really
and
has.
Olympia, ironically, Olympia that he rode at Hagen at the European Championships, picking up that team silver, is another horse that he...
Oh, he's mega.
But this horse is very much here, and this is why these competitions, the World Cup series, is so important to the world of dressage, because these horses have an opportunity to come out onto this big stage and absorb atmosphere, take it all in. Today, nice and quiet. Tomorrow is going to be a different atmosphere altogether. Now, if we were back at the old venue, it would be very light in here because of the glass roof in the Grand Hall. And then the evening performances really felt like evening performances. Yeah. This morning feels like an evening performance because we're indoors and it's inside.
Absolutely. Very cleverly ridden there by Gareth. He really used his experience, allowed the Piaffe to travel slightly to keep that level of activity. He could feel KK Dominant just dropping off his leg and his aids, and just made that wise decision. But this horse looking so relaxed, and do you know what I'm so impressed about is when you look at this horse from a side profile, he's not the most uphill horse in the world, but actually Gareth really connects him and gets that uphill tendency.
I mean, Gareth's quite tall himself, but I don't think KK Dominant is a particularly big horse,
He doesn't look big, but he's probably bigger than he looks because of Gareth riding him. So as you said, this zigzag in the half pass, really difficult. And it's only a double coefficient, and there's a lot in there to mark, isn't there?
There is, and it comes up so quickly. Last one to the 3 to the change and left. A little pat on the neck.
I think he could have taken a little bit more weight behind and given a more expressive change. They're just a little on the shoulder, aren't they?
Yeah. And the same with the 2s.
Yeah.
But you know what, again, you know, they've been clean, they've been good. And I think...
Yeah, he's getting 5s, 5.5s for the zigzag, and then up to 7.58 for the diagonal of 2-time changes.
And the 1-time changes on the centre line now, 11 of them. Nice and relaxed, wasn't he?
Absolutely. I think the last horse could take a leaf out of this horse's book when it comes to relaxation. Just giving Gareth a really lovely ride. And again, that pirouette is so close to the edge of the arena. It's hard when the edge is there and the horses can feel a little trapped. And I think that's happened to a couple of the horses today where they've just lost the rhythm towards the end of the pirouette. lost the activity there in the transition, coming back into the trot. Lovely activity in the passage. Yeah, 5s and 5.5s for that transition. Yeah, just a little earthbound. Just want to see more activity, especially in the Piaffe. But a really lovely, fluent test.
Yeah, and he eventually put his foot down. So the 12-year-old stallion, KK Dominance, and Gareth Hughes of Great Britain come to the end of their test. They can do no more. And barring, I mean, that's got to go into the lead so far. We've had a 66, we've had a 67%. Gareth Hughes, Great Britain, will he go into the lead? I think he will, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to be close to the 70. I'm not sure if he's going to break it or not. And of course, the compulsories are different in this test. So the judges are just giving a general impression. They're not giving four collective marks at the end of the test. So they're just giving an overall impression, and that's times by 2. So he's getting 7.5s and 8s from the judges for the general impression. So I think it's going to be close to 70, but I'm not sure he's going to get there today.
Well, it should be close to 70%. We've had a 66, 67. Here we go, 69.605 for Gareth Hughes and KK Dominant, in that range of marks, and the 68 up to 71.053. That was from our judge at M. And our judge at M is from the Netherlands, Edouard de Wolf van Westerode. As we welcome into the arena, we stay with Great Britain. It is now Hayley Watson-Greaves representing Great Britain. Hayley riding a great campaigner. He has been an amazing horse. Rubin's Knight. He has taken her to places she never even dreamt of. Very much part of the Nations Cup and now the World Cup series. She's been riding on them all. And Hayley, he's now 17 years old, by Rubin Royal. Picked up her senior badge a few years ago, and she's a very proud lady. Well, Hayley Watson-Greaves, Rubin's Knight, 17 years young. A little bit of a spook going down the centre line. He's a bit of a character, this horse, that is for sure. She's 38, he's 17. Hayley Watson-Greaves, Rubin's Knight for Great Britain. And he's done nothing but take her all over the world. And he's done nothing but keep her on her toes for all of those 17 years as well.
Yeah, absolutely. She normally has to avoid prize givings with him. He's otherwise known as Squeaks, and he can have quite a squeaky personality. But
you can see the smile on Hayley's face as she came across the diagonal in that extended shot. I mean, he just does fill her with such enormous pride. Yeah,
and he just must give her the most amazing feeling. He's got so much power, and I'm sure she had a baby break, didn't she?
She did, yeah.
So it's great to see her back in the arena doing what they do best. She has to do such a good job maintaining his concentration as well, because, as you said, he can get quite hot and reactive to the atmosphere. So she does such a great job of keeping everything together, and that's really where their relationship comes into play. Just stepping back into the halt, unfortunately, there. I feel like she could have just stayed there a little while. It is a halt immobility rein back, and a lot of these riders are just going straight back and not maintaining that halt. Good activity in the Piaffe. Just want to see him taking the stretch there. You can just see him tucking behind the bit.
The horse that took her to the World Cup finals in Paris back in 2018. Will they be going to the finals in 2022?
She'll have to do a few more of these. This is her first World Cup qualifier. You can see the tension there in the mouth. I wonder if he's got his tongue over the bit. He doesn't look happy, does he?
No, he can do this. I've seen him do it a couple of times. He's a real cheeky little monkey. He can just, what he does do is he drops the double bridle.
Right.
Drops both bits, and she has such an enormous task on her hands to try and get him to come back up to it and take it again. And this is what happens when these horses, I mean, he knows every trick in the book.
Yeah. You can see now the score dropped massively.
His tongue is poking out to the side.
Yeah. So he's going to be dropping
Let's just see.
marks.
I think he has possibly. He's sucking it back. That's
is,
what he's
isn't he?
doing. I think she did 13 actually.
Oh, I wasn't counting,
yeah,
sorry.
it doesn't matter. But you know, I think she's more concerned that she's not got what she wants in her hand, and she's trying to do her best and her utmost to ride out of it.
I don't think that's going to be feeling particularly nice
It won't.
up
It
there.
doesn't feel nice, does it, at all?
No. I think it must have happened in the walk, because when she let the rein go in the extended walk, he just came right back at her, just having a little spook there at the light on the floor. But she's only got a centre line now to get through.
She'll be relieved at that.
She will. Seems better here in the trot.
Yeah, she's actually able now. You can just see on the left-hand side of his face, he's just poking it out again. I think she's doing a great job.
She
I mean, it
is
is a masterful job in this, because it's not a nice feeling when they get their tongue over the bit. I can't explain what it's like. It's like no other feeling, is it?
You just lose the front
exactly.
end, don't you? No, she's done a fantastic job of maintaining that level of activity as well.
What a fabulous
naughty little monkey.
Naughty little monkey.
Well done, Hayley.
But great job Hayley Watson-Greaves did with Rubens Knight. She has got a wry smile on her face.
She had a great win last time out, though, at Kiso in the freestyle. She got 74%.
It was interesting because Hayley was first and Gareth was second on KK Dominance.
Yeah. So I think it might swap round today.
I think so, yeah.
That's such a pity. Lots of fives, lots of fours in there from the judges. Picking up lots of sevens, though, for the trot work. So managed to pick up some marks in the trot. Just the canter really dropping her down today, which was such a shame.
Yeah, you can just see his tongue there, can't you? I mean, that's a great bit of camera work as well from our guys. And he's wobbling it around.
He is.
She's done a brill job.
So just waiting for the result to come through now.
Well, let's bring you that score at E, 68.1.
So here is the score, 67.790. Goes into second for Hayley Watson-Greaves and Rubens Knight. And her range of marks pretty similar, 65 up to 68.158 from our judge at E, that's Suzanne Barrett. But going into second place, and the spectator judging up, they had her on 68.772. So very close again from our very knowledgeable, I would say, spectators judging along. And if you're not judging along, why don't you give it a try? Downloads from the App Store on your smartphone, from Google Play Store on your Android phone. Judge along with our 5 judges and see just how close you can get. Well, now we go to our next combination. This is Caroline Chu. Caroline, as Tash said, was one of those riders that went to Tokyo with Tribbiani. Sadly, didn't quite go to plan. I think he bit his tongue or maybe even his cheek, and he had a bit of blood in his mouth, and she was eliminated. And that's the name of the game, unfortunately. She's based with the very, very, very experienced Matt Frost and Adam Kemp. And he has ridden this horse to many international competitions as well. 17 years old, Tribbiani. This gelding, owned by Melanie and Tony Chu. Caroline Chu, representing Singapore, are next to go.
Caroline balances her job as an assistant solicitor in London, as well as riding and competing, and it was a real big shock for her to qualify and get a place in Tokyo. It's just such a pity that it didn't come good, and it wasn't what she was expecting out there, which was such a shame. But Tribbiani's looking really well,
isn't he? Do you know, these two deserve a break, because I think they're very good together, and just occasionally things don't always go to plan in the arena. But the likes of Jackie Su and the likes of Caroline Chu, Singapore and Hong Kong being very much, you know, on the European circuit and competing on these World Cup competitions is just fantastic.
Absolutely. She's been picking up some really good scores as well. 7.5, some 8s in there as well.
Matt Frost just down here in front of us in the kiss and cry area, and he's watching on, and I would think he'd be very, very pleased with what he sees so far.
Absolutely, lovely activity on the trot work. Just, yeah, the connection was lost there in the passage. Much better here in the Piaffe, nicely on the spot.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There was a little bit of travel there, but you don't mind that. But for the bigger marks, you know, you do have them more on the spot there. But
it's the decision you have to make as a rider, doesn't it? Do you lose marks for travelling, or do you lose marks for losing the rhythm and losing the activity?
Exactly.
It's I would rather travel.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you're more likely to lose just half a mark for travelling. And actually, it was nicely on the spot at the beginning, so she obviously felt he was about to lose the activity and then decided to go a little more forward. Just dropped there after the rein back, below 70%.
Yeah, this zigzag, 6 strides left, 6 strides right, and then the 3 at the end. I mean, it's, you know, you've got to be counting 6 and then change, and then the other direction, and then the 3 to the straight line, then change and left. And he just went a little bit wobbly on her there, didn't he, towards the end. And I don't know whether that came from the walk, because when she picked the rein up from the walk, he just went slightly nervous on her. Again here, again here in this bottom, you can just see him here. He's just gone a little bit wild on her, just climbing around this pirouette now, unfortunately.
Better there towards the end. Lovely straight changes there on the centre line. Oh,
11, she got the 11.
I think she just missed it behind on that last one.
Yeah. Better this way, isn't it?
Yeah. Is she going to go for the extension?
Do you think she could have been braver?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just this final centre line for Caroline Tribbiani, and we'll see here again just how much she's got left in the tank into this final Passage Piaffe line before the
he's looking really fit, isn't he?
Very fit. I mean, if you were to say that this horse was ready to go around an event track, I wouldn't disbelieve you.
We don't know what his jumping ability is, though.
Well, he looks like he's got enough spring in his toe.
Yeah, lovely final centre line there. Just can't see from this angle the frame, but that looks really lovely and active, nice and straight. Lots of purpose down that final centre line.
Yeah, it really was. Caroline Chu for Singapore, Tribbiani. Our fifth combination of this morning's session. We started at 8:30 this morning. We run through till about 10:30 UK time. And that is GMT. And if you've missed any of the action, don't forget you can go back onto FEI Media House or onto Clip My Horse and you can see any of the previous tests. If you've missed any of the dressage, then go back and watch at your leisure. Gareth Hughes currently leads on 69.605, with Hayley Watson-Greaves in second, Rubens Knight 67.790, and Tommie Visser in third for the Netherlands 67.605. But the score coming in now for Caroline Chu and Tribbiani. This is the climbing pirouette. There it is, 67.474 for Caroline, and she goes into fourth place so far. And it was just those big mistakes, wasn't it, that just let him down, and I think he let himself down more than she let him down, because she rode him really nicely.
Yeah, absolutely, and we actually saw in some of the slow-mos him doing similar to what Rubens Knight did with Hayley, and just sucking back the tongue and dropping the bit, which was such a pity.
Part of major teams over the years for the British squad. This year part of the team in Aachen in Germany as well. Top 10 there individually too, and has been top 5 previously here at this FEI Dressage World Cup qualifier in London. Wins this season on home ground here in Great Britain at Kiso. Lara Butler as the next to go, riding a horse owned by Laura Tomlinson and Ursula Bechtelsheimer. This is the 16-year-old by Polarian. It is Christian for Great Britain's Lara Butler.
So Lara Butler is our next to go for Great Britain, our third British rider down the centre line this morning. She's 33, she's ranked 140 in the world rankings, and she rides the 16-year-old Christian. And this is owned by Laura Tomlinson and Ursula Bechtelsheimer. Laura Bechtelsheimer, as she was, this Oldenburg 16-year-old, Lara Butler and Christian.
I'm loving the Frozen music. Sorry, I had a little...
Oh, I can't hear it. What is it?
Frozen.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Is she going to let it all go in this extended trot?
Don't get me singing. We'll lose what audience we already had.
Super steps in the extended trot there, and this is what you want to see: the pole at the highest point, the frame extending as well as the stride. Lovely overtrack in the trot.
I'm amazed you haven't put up mentioned the sparkles as well on his bonnet.
I mean, that goes without saying. Lovely steps in the half pass.
Yeah, she had a great time at Kiso as well, winning the freestyle, the 3-star freestyle. He's been around, hasn't he, Christian, as well? He's been a great horse for her, and he's certainly taken her to stand, because you were square.
Horses.
Horses.
Just dropping the pole slightly in the rein back there.
Doesn't he look fabulous for 16?
He does. We've had quite a few older horses here today.
Well, we've had a 10-year-old and a 17-year-old. And Rubens Knight was 17. And then we had the 10-year-old of Tommie Visser with the Genesis Beganova, who currently sits in third place on 67.605. Gareth Hughes is the score to beat, and you can see here Lara is on 70.100. Gareth was here on 71.3, so she's just a little bit behind at the moment.
Yeah. It really is all to play for. I think she might creep ahead in the canter work.
Quite a difficult move, that, isn't it?
It really is, and then to go from that into this relaxed extended walk, you can just see him playing with the bit a little bit. Could see a greater overtrack there for the higher marks. But this horse really, really does look confident, doesn't he, in the arena? This partnership are so established. And they've been together since 2017, this combination, so they know each other incredibly well. Oh, 7 strides there in the half pass. Oh, and a mistake there at the end. That's a real shame. Double coefficients there in the zigzag as well. Very close between her and Gareth. Good correct changes in the 2s. Just losing the canter rhythm slightly there in the canter pirouette. Much better this time. Lost a bit of the activity actually there coming out of the pirouette. The 110p's, that mistake there, pulling them down to 5.5. She's just dropped now behind Gareth Hughes. This is where she's going to be picking up the marks. She got lots of super marks in her Piaf Passage Tour last time. Nicely on the spot. Keeping that activity beautifully, and lovely fluent transitions here as well. She's climbing back up. A few 8s there. Into a square halt. Did step back into the square halt though.
And then, I mean, that's half a mark if that's off. And now that they've got the ability, these judges, to do the half marks, I think it's opened up a whole new world, hasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, you know, there's always...
You can't imagine life without the half marks now.
You really can't. You really, really can't. And, you know, when you're like, oh, it's not quite an 8, but, you know, it's too good for a 7. At least you've got that 7.5 or, you know, 6.5 or 8.5. We'd like to see a few more of those.
We would. We really would. Well, Lara Butler there leaves the arena with Christian, and the marks are coming in for her. Do we think that that's going to go ahead of Gareth Hughes? Is it going to sit just behind him? What do you think? I mean, we're going to get our 50p's out tomorrow.
Well, no, I reckon just behind.
Do you? Well, going into second place, Lara Butler on a score of 69.368. And the range of marks for her from 67 up to 70.789. Lara Butler, Great Britain, goes into second place with Christian. Gareth Hughes leads. Lara Butler second. Hayley Watson-Greaves in third. It's a British 1-2-3 at the moment. Will it be 1-2-3-4? We will find out in just a second. This is Dynamo, as he's known to his stablemates. This is Into the Blue and Louise Bell. She's so excited to be here. She's been trying to get to Olympia for a number of years.
We're not at
I know, we've been trying to get to Olympia for a number of years, but she's managed to get in here. There were a couple of withdrawals, and she managed to get in to the London International Horse Show here at the XL for 2021. She's had a great season. She was competing in Le Mans, and of course married to the maestro in the showing world, that is Robert Bell. They have a great team of horses. This is her only real horse. This horse was a showing horse.
was.
He took her to many championships in the world of showing, and then Louise turned her hand to dressage, and my goodness me, she's taken the world by storm, and she's very much up there doing it for herself, doing it for the world of showing, proving he wouldn't be your typical dressage horse, but my goodness me, he's so fabulous to watch. She's now 50, he's 15. This gelding into the blue.
I thought you said he's 50. I was like, blimey, he's looking really
50.
good.
She looks really
good for 50.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah, this horse won 15 Supreme Working Hunter Championships, and then 2017 moved into dressage. He can get quite hot though, can't he?
He can.
He's got a bit of a personality, this one.
We watched him at the horse inspection, the first horse inspection yesterday. They have to have that before they're allowed to compete, and they do that in front of the ground jury, in front of a vet, just to make sure that the horses are sound, fit, and able to come forwards to competition. And he had a little bit of a buck and a squeal at the end of his...
He was living his best life.
He was. I spoke to Louise last night, and she said, he is on fire, literally. So she's come here full of confidence.
Yeah, just want to see some more suppleness in those half passes, just losing the quarters slightly.
Nice hold.
Super hold. Shame it wasn't quite on the marker though. Sorry, I'm a stickler for accuracy.
So picky, and then a little bit of a mistake coming from the rein back into the trot again, just went to go into canter. These horses know as well, because quite often you go rein back to canter, and he, you know, to go rein back into trot is probably a much less, a lower level dressage test than a Grand Prix, and he just was a little bit above it.
They don't do rein back to canter.
Rein back to canter?
Yeah.
No? Grand Prix?
No, rein back to trot. Sorry about Spencer there, everybody.
Yeah, he's old, he's very old.
Lovely relaxation in the walk. Again, could just see a bit more bit more of an overtrack. And this is where the horses can really anticipate.
Yeah, well, he's put his bottom into the arena now.
So I'm ready to canter, mummy. Or Piaf.
Dynamo.
And this is where we'll really see the horses coming into their own in the freestyle, because they're allowed to make up the floor plan, to suit the horses, really play on their strengths and try and hide their weaknesses. And I find it so interesting watching the freestyles, just to see how they're put together, to see the choreography, especially after watching the Grand Prix and seeing what maybe the horses struggle with a little bit more, and then how the rider designs that in the freestyle.
Yeah, you just saw him there at the end of that zigzag, just give a little bit of a shake of the head. He is obviously feeling very, very well.
Yeah, I picked up a few threes for the transition into canter, and then fives for the half passes. Oh no, sorry, sixes at 6.5
for the zigzag.
Half pass. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the mark on the screen now, 6.5 for the zigzag. Average mark of the 5 judges, that is.
Nice pirouette.
Nice pirouette.
Very neat and tidy.
Yeah,
lovely and straight into the ones. And really taking her time there to prepare for the pirouette. You don't get a lot of time in this test because everything, as we said earlier, comes so quickly. Actually, that's interesting. So looking up into the arena, it looks like a much more powerful extended canter than what we saw on the screens. And sometimes that can be the case, can't it? What we see live in front of us can look quite different to what we see on our screens.
Yeah, 100%. It just gives you a totally different perspective when you raise your eye from the TV into the arena.
Nicely on the spot. She kept the activity nicely there, didn't she?
She really did. And she's had to ride this horse with a great deal of tact.
Yes.
Because I always use there's a very fine line between expression and explosion.
Oh, yes.
And that was very well demonstrated in there with him, because if she'd have pressed for a little bit more, you never know what you were going to get. He might have just gone, do you know what? Let's go.
Absolutely. And this is really where the partnership and the harmony comes in. Wow, I've just seen her belt. That was incredibly sparkling. Sorry, I'm like a magpie.
She really is.
But look at that beautiful square hold. I mean, let me have a look at the scores for that, because there's not a lot wrong with that. And I, yeah, interesting to see what they give.
68.158 at C 66.578.
Okay, so the Holt is in with the rein back, unfortunately, and because she had the mistake, she didn't get the points for the Holt.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5s and 4s for the judges there. But super steps here in the Piaf.
Louise into 6th place there from the judges.
Well, the score's just about to come in, and it'll be the mid to late 60s, I would think.
Yeah, it's incredibly close. We've got a lot of rides. There it is. I need to ask her where that came from.
I'll text her and ask her. Well, there we are, 67.158. Little punch of the air for Louise Bell into the blue, goes into 6th place, 67.158. And that doesn't mean that Great Britain 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a 1, 2, 3. Gareth Hughes still leads. We've got one left to go before the next break, or the first break in this. And this is Alejandro Asencio Mendez, and he rides Focus, riding for Spain. And it's great to have him here. Great to have Spain here. We've had so many nations represented. First ago we had Greece, and then we've had the Netherlands, Great Britain, Singapore, and we now welcome in our Spanish rider. He's a great rider, actually. I mean, he suddenly shot onto the scene, didn't he? Another one that's been very much waiting in the wings and making the most of being here at the London International Horse Show for 2021. We'll talk about the clipped areas in just a second, but this is Alejandro Asencio Mendez, 34 years old, and he rides the 11-year-old gelding, Hanoverian bred Focus for Spain.
I saw this combination in Madrid. They were 12th in the Grand Prix with 64, had quite a few mistakes there. 11th in the freestyle was 70.1, so he's definitely going to be looking on building on that today.
So we just talk about the clip marks. Now this horse is chestnut. A lot of chestnuts have very thin skin. So he has the part where his leg is, where the spur is, just left unclipped, just to have a little bit more protection between himself and the horse's sides. It's not anything that is detrimental. It's just that this horse has very sensitive skin, and chestnuts especially have very thin skin.
Absolutely. Great crossing in the half passes, nice and fluent and really active. Another one just stepping back into a halt. Just lost a bit of the connection as well in the rein back. We've seen a lot today drop the pole in the rein back, and this one actually came above the bit and lost the connection in the rein back. So wants a nice balance of the two, really. Just losing the fluency into the Piaf. Again, yeah, so just lost the rhythm in the transitions, but actually the Piaf and the Passage were good in themselves. Just needs to get the fluency in the transitions a little smoother. But 11 years old, this horse. Yep. So lots still to work on and play for. Definitely not in his prime yet. And again, there in the extended walk, you just want to see the horse taking the stretch down and out. You want to see the vertical, and he just tucked behind there a little. just missed a change behind there. Just at times in that zigzag, just lost the balance slightly, and that was then what affected the change, and then just lost the balance towards the end again.
We've still got some great combinations still to come. 9:54. Someone's just asked what time Charlotte and Gio go into the arena. 9:54, that's Greenwich Mean Time. We start again after this horse at 9:40. Dane Rawlins for Ireland. And then Richard Davison with Bubbling for Great Britain. Still some very good horses to come. But Alejandro doing a very good job in the arena, keeping that score up in the mid-60s.
Yeah, nice pirouette. It was quite large, so interesting to see how this one, yeah, again, just riding it a little big to keep the activity. The first one was actually slightly bigger down this end.
I think I think the whole of the test, what has been lacking a little bit is the preparation, and into and out of the different movements. Going into that pirouette, it was a canter and then straight in.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more preparation and collection would have made a nicer pirouette.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for the first one, he had that little spook beforehand, because the
They're all
border
spooking
F,
down here, aren't they?
well, the border F
has
been kicked over, so they're having a little look at that. Better preparation there into the Piaf.
Yeah, absolutely. He must have been listening.
I think he was. He heard us.
Yeah, getting some good marks down this final centre line from the Passage. The Piaf won't be quite so big scoring, but again, nicely into his final halt. Yeah, 6.8 for the Piaf. But you know, again, it's one of those things, isn't it? You come in here, you never really know what you're going to get until you get in here, when you've got people around here. And when we first walked in this morning, I mean, you've got to be an eager beaver to want to get here for 8:30 to the XL Centre, because it's right at the other end of London. We're in the East End of London.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely, more and more people have been coming in during the breaks in between horses, so it's getting busier. The atmosphere is slowly building in here, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, and it's going to have even more tomorrow night for the freestyler. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely jam-packed, and you know, that was, if he gets higher at 60s, that's going to be a big improvement from what he got in Madrid a couple of weeks ago.
For sure, and you know, watching him in Madrid, and I was listening to you as well when he was in Madrid, you know, for the likes of, he was, I think, you know, just outside the top 10 in both the Grand Prix and the freestyle, but very consistent. And then watching him here, I think there's so much still to learn, so much still to come. I mean, again, he spooked at that board. You kicked it out, but it was still very scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, here is the score, 67.605 for Alejandro Asencio Mendez and Focus. So he goes into 4th place, a very good result for him, 67.605.
Another one on 67.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the 5th rider on 67%.
It is. And we'll go down that leaderboard and have a quick run down the leaderboards as we go into this break. But it's been fascinating. It's been a great morning of dressage. There is the leaderboard, and it's Gareth Hughes and KK dominant, leading for Great Britain, 69.605, with Lara Butler, Christian in 2nd for Great Britain, 69.368. Hayley Watson-Greaves, Rubens Knight in 3rd, with Tommie Visser and Genesis Benganova for the Netherlands in 4th, and just finishing, going into equal 4th place. It is equal 4th place on 67.605. It is Alejandro Asencio Mendez in 4th place, 67.605. We now go to a break, and we will be back with our next combination. Dane Rawlins for Ireland at 9:40, followed by Richard Davison, Charlotte Dujardin at 9:54. Then we move down to the last few, Charlotte Fry amongst them, and the leader of the Western European League so far after 3 legs. It is Frederik Wandres, Duke of Britain. He is a previous leg winner, and we will be looking forward to those after the break. Make yourselves comfortable, have a cup of tea, coffee. Tash and I will be back just before the next horse at 9:40 in about 6 or 7 minutes' time.
Positive parts of the movements and unfortunately some of the negative parts. And really it's a balancing act between those sides of what happens within each and every movement. And you make your decision and decide on the score from that. But, you know, in this competition today, we've seen some lovely horses and making some beautiful movements, but also with the tension involved, did create a few expensive mistakes here and there.
And I know that there is a group of people, including yourself, who are looking at revising or certainly how to change maybe the scoring going forward to sort of unify it, to make it more objective, less subjective.
It's not about changing anything, it's purely just to try and bring in some clearer guidelines that we can all work to. So, but no, there's nothing destined to change. It's just a way to try and help people focus a little bit more equally on things.
A bit more clarity, maybe. Yeah. And in terms of the year that we have had, it's fantastic to have this show on. Just seeing and speaking to some of the judges last night and competitors, there has been a huge effort to be able to get here. It's not just the horses, the riders, the grooms, the judges have had to go through some, jump through hoops to even be here.
Absolutely. No, it's just huge congratulations for making it happen, really. You know, so many shows have not been able to run, and so the organisers here, the whole team, it's a brilliant effort to put this on, and yeah, for everyone to get here has been complicated, but it's our sport and we love it, so you know, you put up with it and make the best of it.
It was fantastic. We managed to have the Olympics in Japan. It felt a very different event when we were over there. But it does mean a shortened Olympic cycle, so there are riders who will hang on for another 3 years. You get to see all of this around the world. How excited are you with the standard of horses that we've got coming up, the standard of young riders that we have coming up as well?
I just think the sport itself is in an amazing place, really, because, you know, years gone by we had 1 or 2 superstars. Now you can see 12 who could all win if the wind is in the right direction. So it makes it a much more exciting sport. And the depth of it, as you say, the younger riders now coming through with beautiful horses. And I think the future is so exciting. It's great.
Thank you very much for your time. We'll let you get back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the next horse will be in shortly. They're just sorting out the arena, and we're sticking to time even though that one ran on. So the next horse will be in around about 9:40. Stephen, in commentary, back up to you.
Thank you very much, Lee, and thank you, Stephen, as well. He's going to be working hard through the morning, and of course he's back tomorrow as well for that FEI Dressage World Cup from London. If you're not with us, you can also follow along on BBC for that as well, for each of the evening performances, and of course the Jumping World Cup too onto the weekend. So for all of you that are here as well, if you'd like to stay on for the afternoon too, just to remind you as well, complimentary tickets are available for this afternoon's performance. Head along to the box office at the Prince Regent entrance at the end of the performance to collect your free tickets. Stay on with us. See the driving, the jumping, and of course all the entertainment as well. And to remind you too, when you're travelling home using the Docklands Light Railway, if you are, additional trains have been added to make that journey a little faster, and also free of charge coaches available to take you to Canning Town Underground too, as things can get busy. So lots of ways to do that, and lots of ways to watch the competition throughout the week. Oh, we're glad you're here with us, enjoying the competition, which again here for this FEI Dressage World Cup here in London is presented by Horse and Hounds. Absolute perfection, and seeing some of those riders that are featured throughout that FEI Dressage World Cup Series, and of course that final in Leipzig in April. Looking forward to that as jumping and dressage come together there as well at those finals. Our pleasure to welcome you back here to London for these FEI Dressage World Cup Western European stages, and 4 leagues, of course, of the series of dressage make up a truly global event, providing the athletes from all around the world with the opportunity to qualify for that final in Leipzig. And as one of those prestigious series on the international dressage calendar, it's with great anticipation that we watch the season's qualifiers unfold and see who qualifies for that final. FEI wishing to wish every athlete competing the best of luck and encourage fans, of course, to participate in the scoring in the FEI E-League. You can download the spectator judging app, and that's all courtesy of SAP as well.
Well, welcome back if you're just joining us, and there you can see the next few to go. Dane Rawlins for Ireland will be first out with Espoir, Richard Davison bubbling, Charlotte Dujardin, Gio, Charlotte Fry, and then the last to go, the leader of the Western European League so far after 3 legs, Duke of Britain, FRH, and Frederik Wandres for Germany. Interestingly, sitting alongside me is Paralympic gold medalist once again from Tokyo. We've only got, this interested me when I read down the list, 1 German rider.
Yes, we have. I thought you were calling me interesting, but it's fine.
Oh, no.
But yeah, no, one German rider. But Frederik has been to nearly all of the World Cup legs so far. The only one he missed out was Madrid. No, he was even in Madrid with Bluetooth. So he's been to all of the Western European League so far. So he's really got a solid campaign this year. So let's see what else he goes to this year. But he has got the 2 top horses, which are, I mean, what a lucky man.
Well, some very festive headgear out there in the audience, and it's so good to be back here. Top-class competition. We have dealt with the horrible C word, COVID. We've got everything in place here, the restrictions, and if you're not planning on coming, then make sure you tune in throughout the weekend, throughout the next few days. Top-class driving, jumping, and tomorrow evening is the dressage, and the BBC will be covering a lot of that as well, so make sure you tune in. Miss any of the action, go back and watch at your leisure. On demand on Clip My Horse, as we welcome for Ireland, this is Dane Rawlins. Dane, who's done so much for the world of Irish dressage. He put in and lodged that big complaint for Tokyo when the Irish dressage committee decided they weren't going to send any Irish riders over there. He's wearing the yellow ribbon. That represents Tiggy Hancock's, the young lady, 15-year-old event rider that died tragically in a schooling accident at the beginning of the year. And Cheltenham Racecourse, that went yellow on Friday last week for Tiggy as well. She has done so much, and that's why the Irish riders wear those yellow ribbons. He's 65 Dane now. He rides the 12-year-old, owned by Greg Powell and Dane Rawlins himself, Espoir, a horse that's taken him to a lot of success. And of course, Dane's so instrumental in the world of dressage, running Hickstead for many, many years, Hickstead Dressage, and very much putting his hand in his own pocket for that event.
Absolutely.
For many, many years.
Yeah, we have a lot to thank Dane for. It's great to see him back out in the arena again. I saw him at Rotterdam earlier this year on this horse, and I will never forget, they rode in Windsor a few years ago, and I have never seen rain like it. And they plodded through the test and just carried on regardless. It was rather inspiring.
Well, just looking down here, Kira Kirkland, she's on the sidelines. Dane works very closely with her in his training.
Good crossing in the half passes. Lots of reach there. Quite a long horse, so Dane has a lot to do to really keep him connected from the hind leg into the bit. What a square hold.
It was a square hold. And this is another interesting, we see lots of riders, we see lots of horses, and they come in all shapes and sizes. So too do the riders. Dane, in his previous life, was a boxer.
Yeah, I did hear that, actually.
You should see his hands. Don't mess with me hands.
Okay, are they?
Yeah.
Are they? Not like your silky smooth ones.
Absolutely.
Just stepping back a little in the Piaffe.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Walks of life. Caroline Chu, we know she works full-time as well, and there's a lot of riders that work full-time, not just with horses. Dane, another one of those. He does do the horses, but he has so many fingers in so many different pies. He's a great advocate for dressage and for Irish dressage in particular. Espoir there, another one just getting a little bit hot under the collar, coming round this turn, preempting what is about to turn up on this centre line, which is just a very simple walk to canter transition, but they think and they overthink.
Yeah, and I think because that's normally in the Grand Prix and in the special, actually, where the horses normally Piaffe, I think they're anticipating the Piaffe transition rather than the canter transition. And for a lot of these riders in the arena today, it's the first time that they would have ridden the short Grand Prix in competition. So a lot for the horses to get their heads around. Just dropping the pole slightly, not lovely correct movement, but just dropping the pole slightly in the canter there. Another rider sitting rather close to that 67%. Are we going to have another around that mark? Climbing back up now. Can just see when he drops the contact, he just comes back and he loses the energy.
There's Kira, she's second from the left, watching on. Kirkland.
It's just giving that little half halt and that reminder to come up and take the weight behind, come up, lift the pole. Good neat pirouette there to finish with, and again you could really see him preparing for that. Another one a little conservative in the extended canter. Good in the frame here. Super activity. Let's see if he can keep the Piaffe. Last time just stepped back slightly in the Piaffe. Nicely on the spot. The scores are creeping up. He's sitting in line now with Theodora, the first rider that we had in the arena this morning.
Yeah, I think as much as I can work out, it made the same mistake in the Piaffes and just stepped back in at least two of them that we saw. Dane Rawlins there with Espoir for Ireland. He'll be pleased with that. I think, coming here is certainly something that's been on his agenda, on his cards for quite a long time. Just looking at his picture on the big screen up there, I don't think he'd be very pleased with what he's got up there. It doesn't look like him at all, does it?
To be honest, I'm not happy with my picture when it comes up when I'm riding. I think it was taken about 10 years ago, so maybe the FEI need to update their pictures.
Well, Dane Rawlins' score coming in, and it's quite a range of marks actually, just looking at those, ranging from 64 up to 69. 69 from Stephen Clark. It is 67, another 67, our sixth 67 so far. 67.378, and I think that is probably his PB, yeah.
Well, so...
it does say PB on the screen too.
Yeah.
Dope.
It's fine, Spencer, don't worry, we've got this. 67.348 was his PB before, so it's literally just, probably by 1 mark. But that's great. You always want to get your personal best at a big show like this.
You certainly do. Well, going into 7th place, Dane Rawlins with Espoir for Ireland, 67.368, a PB for him, as we welcome our next combination, and that is Richard Davison. Richard, who's done so much for the world of dressage. He rode in his very first Olympic Games back in 1996 in Atlanta with Hiscox Ascari, right back in 96. He's now a 4-time Olympian. He rode in the 2012 London Games as well, and that was with Artemis. This Bubbling he thinks is going to be his Paris horse. And Bubbling by name, Bubbling by nature, he can get very, very tense. We know that. We've seen him right on the edge of his limits, and Richard has to sit so quietly. He comes from a dynasty of amazing, an amazing family. The boys that jump, and they're out there on the international stage. I think one of them is actually abroad at the moment in the sunshine. But they have an amazing setup. Richard's been so instrumental in the British dressage world as well. 66 years young, he's still going. He still loves this sport so, so much. And he is riding the 15-year-old Bubbling. And he rides the Dutch bred gelding, owned by G. Mayer and Richard. But yeah, I mean, the boys, I mean, they just have the most amazing setup, and they're jumping at top level. Richard's competing at top level. It is just an amazing, amazing family, isn't it? You talk about the likes of the Whitakers, the Davisons are not far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. He's leaving a great legacy. This horse is looking really relaxed today. I think this is the most relaxed I've seen him come into an arena like this.
But I've watched this horse right from the get-go, right from the beginning days when he stepped up to Grand Prix. And I remember, you talk about the day that Dane Rawlins rode in rain. I remember this horse riding, Richard riding this horse at Hickstead in what can only be described as stair rods. It was the most horrific rain I've ever seen. And this horse stayed pretty calm, pretty cool, but he couldn't hear his freestyle music over the rain. And halfway through, retired. I've seen him go through tests and get 3/4 way through and go, and this horse go, do you know what, I can't do it, I can't do it anymore, can't do it anymore. And Richard just goes very calmly, okay, that's fine. And then they go on to the next one, and they learn, and each time they get better and better and better.
Richard is so patient.
Oh, amazingly patient. And you think now, this horse is 15, 16, 17, 18. Is that too old for Olympic Games in Paris?
Not in Paris, because it's so close.
Exactly. And that would be very much, you know, sort of on Richard's mind. And you see these horses, and when they're now doing the Grand Prix short and a freestyle test, it's not quite so much on their legs and limbs, is it?
Absolutely. And this horse is getting better with age. He's like a fine wine, that's for sure. Just sometimes I feel like he holds himself in the neck a little bit, and the legs move, and he does everything right. I just want to see him more over the back rather than holding himself through the back.
Unfortunately, I think that's more the way that this horse goes.
Built,
you know, and it's the way God created him. Watching him come now down to this walk element of the test, you can see how clever Richard was then in taking his time, actually picking up canter a little bit earlier. Damage limitation, sometimes you think, I've got to go with it, I've got to go now, because if I wait, I'm going to ruin it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it's all about clever riding and experience.
Yeah, yeah. And Richard has that in bucket loads. For once in my very limited life, I'm not sitting here.
Why are you limited?
Well, you know, I'm not sitting here holding my breath.
I'm not.
I usually hold my breath when this horse goes into the arena, and I'm not.
He is looking so much more relaxed today. But what's it going to be like on Friday? Because as we said, the atmosphere is building here, but we still have a lot of empty seats.
Yeah.
So is the atmosphere going to be too much, and is he going to bubble over?
Oh, I see what you did. I see what you've been practicing that one, haven't you?
And also, I found in my limited life that that he does get more tense in the canter work than the trot work. So that'll be interesting in the freestyle. I'm not sure if he's still got the same freestyle, because he's got some pretty cool music normally. As to whether he does the canter at the beginning or more towards the end. But these pirouettes are looking good.
They are.
And look, we've got a score trending over 70.
Ooh.
Is it going to be our first plus 70?
Just keep it together, Richard. And this is a very tentative extended canter
Yes,
as well on the diagonal line. But again, Richard's just saying, do you know what? No. Let's play safe. I can go for gold tomorrow. Good boy. Good boy.
Yeah, today, especially for this combination, is really all about gaining that confidence in the arena.
And you know, also, I do a lot of comparing for demos, and I'm an ambassador for Dodson and Horrell, and Richard is an ambassador for Dodson and Horrell as well. They go off doing all these demos. This horse goes to all those demos, goes to all those different atmospheric conditions to soak it up, to gain more trust in what Richard's doing when he wants and not when the horse wants. And that's all part of the learning process. And I think that's what people forget, is that these horses, this level, are so finely tuned.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, that's not such a good halt there to finish with.
Well, Richard Davison and bubbling for Great Britain. Will it go over 70%? We hope so. Great Britain still lead. Gareth Hughes, 69.605. And what can Richard do? What is your prediction here, Tash?
I'm thinking around 70-71, I'm thinking, for this. The last centre line was lovely in the passage. Just got a little tense in the Piaf, lost the rhythm for a couple of strides. So that's going to pull their last centre line down a little. Yeah, I'm thinking 70.8.
Okay, 70.8 is your prediction, and we've got a 73.684, 73.421, 70.132, 69. It's 71.526. Not far away, Tash. Very good from you.
Oh, look,
and the range of marks from 69 all the way up to 73.684. Richard Davison takes the lead away from Gareth Hughes. Bubbling is at the top of this very impressive leaderboard. How long will it stay there? Because
I
now
don't think very long.
we have Charlotte Dujardin in the arena with her Tokyo medalist, her European medalist. Horse has now been sold to the Pidgley family. It is Gio. This is for one last time. This is their final hurrah. And if you have watched anything recently on any social media platforms, you'll see that Charlotte was very emotional talking about Bellegro recently, just how much she misses him, and she's going to really miss this little horse as well. Pumpkin, as he's known to his stable mates at home. He went to Tokyo as a very, very young 10-year-old, and she rode her first freestyle music in Tokyo as well. She'd never practiced it, she rode it, and we'll see that again here tomorrow. He is only 10. He's a tiny little power horse. I saw him as a very young horse coming to Your Horse Live a number of years ago, and she trotted around the outside and you're like, what is this little pony? She pressed the buttons and my goodness me, he suddenly turned into this amazing ginger ball of loveliness.
Yeah.
Charlotte Dujardin, 36 years old, ranked third in the world. She's been a former world #1. And she was the bronze medalist from Tokyo. Sarah Pidgley owns, now bought this little pocket rocket. She rides Gio. And he's just a pleasure to watch, isn't he? I mean, he's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's been a gold medalist, Bellegro, go back to London. She broke world records at Olympia with Bellegro, a horse that soared her to heights she could only ever dream of. Gold medals coming out of her ears with him. And of course, she picked up the bronze individual and the team bronze in Tokyo, and then that team silver in the European Championships in Hagen, and the individual bronze there as well. I mean, he's not given her a bad year.
No, she's had an incredible
10 years
year.
old as well. I mean,
exactly.
Phenomenal.
Annabella's a very, very lucky girl.
She really is.
Incredible half passes. This horse's strength is in the collection work. So absolutely incredible piaffe passage. Doesn't quite come up where the extensions are involved, especially in the trot. Not quite what we saw with Vallegro, but definitely improving. But absolutely incredible horse. A wonderful halt there.
It's interesting.
Getting 9s, a 10.
It's interesting what you said, this horse's strength is his collection. It's actually not. It's something he finds quite difficult. It's her strength.
Her strength,
I mean, you know, we watch this zigzag coming up in a minute after we've done the walk and everything else. Charlotte's ability to collect horses, to engage her core and get these horses to literally dance underneath her is something very, very special. And, you know, I think we overlook that sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
totally.
I mean, he is little. He is a little pocket rocket. One of the most relaxed walks I think we've seen. I mean, the training that goes into these horses, I can just see down here Carl Hester watching on alongside with the ever-suffering Alan Davis, the groom, friend. I mean, he really is. And then we've also got Dickie Waygood down here, he's watching Gio. This is their last performance, and Sarah Pitchley down here just watching Sarah. She's videoing this little horse's test.
Yeah, he just has so much expression, and although he's such a small horse, he really, really does light up the screen, doesn't he? He has so much presence in the arena.
The queen of the zigzag, and the piaffe, and the passage.
She's the queen of a lot of things, isn't she? Super expressive changes.
Just about to say.
So much airtime.
So much airtime. So much ground cover. I don't know whether there's a little mistake right there in the middle. I was looking at you.
Yeah.
Lovingly.
Lovingly. Let's have a look. 7.5s and 8s and 8.5s.
There's no mistake. This pirouette, I mean, just beautiful. And again, he kept pole high the whole way through.
A 10 from one of the judges for that pirouette.
He's got slightly more reach on the right change than he has the left change. And watching those one-time changes, but just so correct, so straight, so brilliant. And I think we're going to see another 9-10 here for this pirouette as well. Just fantastic to watch.
So interestingly, the judges all gave 8s and 8.5s, and then one judge gave a 10 for the first pirouette. And then for that second one, all of them gave a 9 and one gave a 9.5.
Yeah.
So the majority of the judges preferred the second one, but H preferred the first. But again, that's where we see the different marks from the different angles.
Yeah. I mean, great music coming down the centre line as well.
Dancing away there, Spinny.
Well, I would call it more jigging. Let's not go too far.
Let's not get carried away.
It's only Thursday morning.
At least it's not singing, guys. It could be worse.
It could. I mean, this is just lovely to watch.
It really, really is.
You wait till the freestyle.
More 10s, more 9s.
Ugh, just greedy.
I think this might even be a personal best.
Ooh, put it down, put it down. Good boy. He's like, oh my, oh, what is it, what is it? Do you know, it's interesting, isn't it? The whole way through the test, he's concentrating on her 99%. Gets to the end, she drops the rein, he goes,
yeah, absolutely.
That's what they're like.
And that's that level of focus and that partnership that the horse and rider have to have together. And that's now going to be Annabella's job, is gaining that trust, gaining that partnership, because that's what he has so well with Charlotte. And now Annabella's going to take over the reins, and I'm sure she's going to do an amazing job. I mean,
this is a beautiful extended shot.
737 at
Well, there we go, 79, 84, 84. The mark's coming in. It's a massive, massive mark. And her PB is 80.9. And I think this is going to go above that.
Yeah.
It's got to go above it.
Absolutely.
And it's a score that is 82.553, and Charlotte Dujardin and Gio go into a convincing, nay, massive lead.
Huge. Yeah, well, 12% lead.
Yeah.
No, 11%.
11% lead. I mean, that is just brilliant, isn't it? Very special to watch, a very special little horse. And great for us. I mean, just brilliant for us to be able to watch it.
Absolutely. Do you know what I found really interesting, actually, is Charlotte came in to watch Theodora. She was sitting just below us.
Yeah, she was.
Just to have a look, to see how the arena was riding, to see what the horses were looking at, and just get a little bit of a feel for the place. Obviously, she knows Olympia so well. This is a new venue, so really lovely to see her doing that. A couple of the riders have done that, but yeah, very, very interesting to see. Obviously, the first few horses, they couldn't do that because they were warming up. But for this second group of riders, a really good opportunity.
Definitely, and I think that's what you know. You've got to go. You've got to do that. I mean, you've had your arena familiarization, but at the end of the day, there's nothing quite like just coming in here, sitting down, seeing what's going on around you, how the horses are reacting, where are they spooking today?
Yes, exactly.
Today,
yeah.
you know,
and we know that Pumpkin can be a little bit spooky.
We saw that at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Charlotte does do such a good job of containing, and like you said, that fine level between the expression and the explosion.
Yeah. Well, we go down to the last four. This is another rider, our second rider from Spain, just about to enter the arena, Lusitana. First one we've seen, Agusti Elias Lara, 46 years old. And he brings forwards this Lusitana stallion, 16 years old, owned by Annabelle Collins. And this is Altanero. Great to have the Lusitanas. And I have to say, I don't know whether you agree, but I think these guys were very much, not this combination, Lusitanas in general, very much underestimated. And I think they've been getting better and better and more recognised more recently.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a horse out in Tokyo called Fugoso, and I saw him. He was in Spain, in Madrid. I'm just trying to find my notes now, but he was definitely called so Rodrigo Torres, Fugoso horse champ line, and he's done incredibly well, and he really won the hearts of so many people out in Tokyo, made it all the way through to the Grand Prix freestyle out there, and so was really in amongst the top riders in the world, the only Lusitano to make it all the way through. So, you know, really lovely to see these Lusitanos coming up through the ranks and, you know, competing alongside the warm bloods.
Yeah, it really is. They're getting what they deserve because, as I said, they come in all shapes and sizes, and it's just lovely to see these horses out there. And Spain especially, you know, we've had some fabulous Spanish riders.
Absolutely. I was lucky enough to commentate on Madrid, and we had, I think, about 6 Lusitanos come forward.
Did you?
And this is really where they excel at, is the Piaf Passage work. They have such a great ability, don't they, to collect.
It's the transitions in and out. You know, whether it's just the way they're mechanically built, but they just seem to have this real ease of going from the Passage to the Piaf and the Piaf to the Passage and making it look all very fluent.
Absolutely.
Never easy following Charlotte in either.
No, really not a great draw for this poor chap. But again, such great relaxation, really taking that stretch. Not the largest overtrack that we've seen today. He looks super chilled. He almost looks sleepy. Not the ride of the horse. Looks like he could do it all day long.
It's so nice to be back, isn't it? London International Horse Show for 2021. We've had such a hard time.
It's been nice to actually be here.
Well, it is.
And to see it live.
We're at an event.
Yeah, we've been commentating from home because of the C word.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to come and actually feel the atmosphere, to be able to see the horses actually in front of us. You can just, you feel so much more, and I hope you guys can appreciate that as well. That was a very, very small pirouette. Maintained the activity very well. Just losing a bit of the straightness and the connection there in the changes. Agusti looked like he had to work quite hard in those, didn't he?
Yeah. But then, you know, I think a lot of that is masterful riding, because sometimes you can do that and make it look like you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But he actually had to put his foot down and do something then.
I found, I've ridden a couple of Lusitanos, and I found them all, they can be quite lazy. So you know, to keep that level of motivation, I think they either go one way or the other. There's no real middle ground. You either find quite a lazy one that's difficult to motivate, or they can be quite hot.
I quite agree. I think I rode one. I think one of the first ones was when I was riding for Peter Storr, who's actually judging here, and I rode a grey Lusitano stallion. He was owned by one of the very famous princes in Spain. And he, again, was exactly the same. You know, you just had to be on his case all the time. Otherwise, if you stop riding, he stopped going.
Yeah, absolutely. They only do as much as they're asked.
Quite rightly. If you want it, you've got to work for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, as a rider, I'm obviously a para rider, so I can't use my legs when I'm riding. I want a horse with natural, you know, can't think of the word.
Natural want to go forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah, desire, natural desire to do the job. Yeah, great job there by Agusti Elias Lara Altanero. And that's our second Spanish combination of the day so far. We've got 3 left to go. That is 1 for Great Britain, 1 for Denmark, 1 for Germany. And amongst them, Charlotte Fry is our next go, the bronze medalist from the Tokyo Games with Everdale. She rides Dark Legend here, and she'll be bringing him into the arena very shortly. Very nice hold down there at the end of the arena. And this is where we were talking about the transitions from the Passage, the Piaffe, and the Piaffe, the Passage, and great camera shots here in the slow-mo pictures that we're bringing you of that example. And great airtime this horse has. One of the most difficult transitions, I think, in the test is from the Passage into the walk. And it's 69.842, a brilliant mark, a personal best for Agusti, and very, very well deserved, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So his previous PB, 69.804. So again, just beaten his personal best, but definitely a high point for me was those pirouettes. They are looking incredibly smart, and like you said, the Piaffe, the transitions, and the Passage was really super.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Well, into 3rd place for Spain, it's Great Britain 1, 2, Spain 3, Great Britain 4, 5, and 6, with Tommie Visser in 7th for the Netherlands. As we catch sight, just going down the left-hand side of the arena, and coming down to go into the arena when the bell goes, and they have 45 seconds once the bell goes from the president of the grand jury sitting at sea. Charlotte Fry it is, with her team bronze medalist. Well, no, not with her team bronze medalist horse here, but she was a team bronze medalist from the Tokyo Games. She was team silver medalist from the European Championships in Hagen. with Everdale. And these horses are incredible. They go from the Tokyo Games, they then go to the European Championships just a few weeks later. They travel, they've got more air miles than most people, but they are just remarkable. She's riding here today, Dark Legend. He has been a brilliant horse for her as well. Yeah. And Charlotte, 25 years of age. She's ranked 20th in the world now. One of her highest placed rankings in the world rankings. She's riding the 13-year-old, owned by the Van Alst horses and Charlotte herself, Dark Legend. Dutch bred. She, of course, rides for the Van Alsts over in Holland. Yeah. And another rider that's just left Carl's. And Charlotte was a former rider at Carl's. And now I can't remember, her name is escaping me, and I will right on the tip of my tongue. She, another one that Carl has sent over to the Van Alst to get and gain valuable experience.
Yeah, what an incredible experience. And I follow Lottie on Instagram, and the amount of incredible horses she has the opportunity to ride is just out of this world. So many incredible young horses that we'll see, I'm sure, in this arena in a few years' time. But this was the horse that took her to the Europeans in 2019.
Yeah.
But as you said, riding Everdale at Tokyo and in Hagen.
Now tell me what the marks were for those half passes, because I thought they were lovely.
1 minute, I've been too busy listening to you and not looking at the
not
scores.
Quite square, behind in the holds.
So half pass left, all 8s, half pass right 8 and 3 8.5s. Lovely in the passage, wonderful activity, really keeping that uphill, pole at the highest point. Oh, just losing the rhythm in the Piaffe, that's such a pity. Again, maybe would have been better off just travelling a little more in that Piaffe, because that's going to really pull her down. Yeah, 5 and 6s from the judges for that Piaffe. Lovely walk.
He's a lovely horse though, isn't he? He's 13 now, and as you said, he went to the European Championships in 2019 as an 11-year-old. So another horse that's definitely been gaining, you know, every year, just getting better and better. And, you know, he's lying second at the moment behind Charlotte, who at that stage was on 80.938. Dark Legend, Charlotte Fry on 75.161. Not far behind.
Absolutely, and of course this isn't her top horse
No,
either.
no.
But one thing about both Charlottes actually is the way that they prepare for the movements, the way that they set things up. They're so precise, they're very, very fluent, and everything's just well executed, well thought out. Some of the other riders that we've seen today, as we said earlier, maybe haven't prepared for the movement quite so well. And especially in this short Grand Prix, when everything comes so quickly, you really need to be on it. And that's where I feel that the two Charlottes today have really stood out.
See her coming around the corner already preparing for the pirouette.
Yes.
And that makes a big difference from the transition and the preparation into those marks, into those movements, and then they happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And lovely straight changes there down the centre line.
11 ones.
This is actually her freestyle music as well.
Well, we have very, very clever musical technicians here that put music to their tests in walk, trot and canter. That is not their freestyle music. This is just somebody very, very clever putting music to their test, speeding up and slowing down the rhythm as they go through. And they do an amazing job. So don't think we're talking over their freestyle music. That is tomorrow night.
Yeah. So much to look forward to.
Our director just said we'll talk over it then.
We certainly will. We won't be we won't be talking over it tomorrow night though, guys, don't worry. Oh no. Just went into a halt there during the Piaffe. That's a real pity.
I think I used to go clubbing to pump up the jam. That's how old this song is.
No comment. And a lovely square halt to finish.
What a tremendous partnership they make.
I was literally sitting there going, pump up the jam, pump it up.
Guys, if you could see Spencer right now.
This summer.
I'm going to video you tomorrow.
European level and
I know that, thank God there's no cameras.
Thank goodness.
But a great test there from Charlotte Fry. Dart legend for Great Britain, owned by the Van Ols family and Charlotte herself. 13 years old, this little horse. Well, he's not little, he's quite a big horse, isn't he? He's quite tall. Charlotte herself is a tall rider as well. Great Britain won. Richard Davison and Bubbling second on 71.526. Will she go into second?
Absolutely, 100%. She's going to be in the mid-70s, I would imagine. 75, 76, maybe.
Well, there it is, 74.526. Second place for Charlotte Fry and Dart Legend. Her range of marks from 73 up to 75. Very close from all of the judges out there. The 5 judges that make up the ground jury and the judging panel here at the London International Horse Show. Hope you're enjoying all of the action so far. We have 2 left to go. And this young lady, she was second in Lyon. She now lies 6th in the Western European League. And she was lying second for a long time in the Western European League, just losing out on a few valuable points last time out in Madrid, I think.
Yeah, she wasn't in Madrid.
Okay, so that was why she missed out there. She was definitely in Lyon. I remember commentating on her. She was second behind Isabelle Wurst in Lyon. She rode a brilliant test. And she represents Denmark and riding Atterup Guard's Orthilia. And this is another slightly older horse, but a mare, 16-year-old mare. I think one of the only mares in the field.
Yeah, I think she might actually be the only mare.
Yeah. 16-year-old mare by Gribaldi, the Damsire Donnerschlag. And this is, I mean, she just is a fabulous horse to watch. And Nanna is doing a brilliant, brilliant job in riding and producing. Watching her, she gets better and better every time. Nanna Merrald, she's 28 and she is 26th in the world rankings, representing Denmark. The 16-year-old Oldenburg mare, owned by Blue Horse Stud, Atterup Guard's Orthilia. And Nanna riding for Blue Horse Stud, and I know, you know, that we talk about the likes of Daniel Bachmann-Andersen, you know, riding Blue Horse horses. Does so well, and now got, you know, doing very much more on his own. But these guys get such a brilliant experience, and I've been to the Blue Horse Stud. I was lucky enough to go there.
It's incredible, isn't it?
And to go from yard to yard, it's like barn to barn to barn. It's like yearlings, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, intermediate horses, Grand Prix horses. You know, there's a barn for all of them, and the facilities, they have somebody that just goes around wiping down the bars and the wood outside the boxes every day. There are that many stables. It is just an amazing enterprise.
It really, really is. And she gets the most incredible horses to ride. Very similar, really, to Lottie, who rides for Anne van Olst. You know, so many incredible opportunities. And she's been riding Zach. She took Blue Horse Zach to Herning. Bang on the marker, not square, unfortunately. But you know, she's had such an incredible year. Was competing out in Tokyo on Blue Horse Zach, and then she competed Zach, I think, again at the Europeans. Or did she have Orthilia? Her personal best in the Grand Prix is 75.342, which she gained in Lyon with you commentating, Spenny.
Yeah.
And this mare was previously ridden by Fiona Bigwood at the 2016 Rio Olympic Games. I mean, that Piaffe was lovely, nicely on the spot, kept the activity, lovely fluency as well.
So it was Orthilia that she took to Hagen for the team bronze and the Danish team.
Right, I thought so, yeah. Denmark are really, really stepping it up now. I mean, they've got some really super horse and rider combinations. Karina Casacruz.
Well, she was well placed the other day
Yeah.
as well. I mean, she's riding brilliant. I'm amazed that Karina's not here, actually. Wife of the organizer of Casper, Casper, organizer of the Danish Christmas show and so many important events over there, Wilhelmsborg, to name but a few. And Karina, they've just had a new stable built, and she's done so well. She was on the, I think she was on the podium, wasn't she, last time out?
She was, yeah, she was third, with Hayley Stansira.
Yeah.
She was also second behind Catherine Dufour out in Herning for the first World Cup leg. Nice in the zigzag, just drop the pole a couple of times. Again, doing a great job preparing for the pirouette.
Yeah. Lovely, very straight. She's threatening Charlotte Fry's second place.
Yeah, it's going to be tight between these two. I wouldn't like to call it, to be honest. Super extended canter. Some riders we've seen today just haven't been brave enough, I haven't felt, in that extended canter, but she really went for that. Great ground cover. Now, what can she do down this final centre line? This is where it's her chance to overtake Lottie Fry. Just a bit of tension in the mouth there. You can see her just fiddling with the bit. Beautifully on the spot though here in the Piaffe. And lovely transitions. Beautifully straight, beautifully balanced. And there we have it. Not quite square in her final halt, but my goodness, this is going to be close. She's just crept ahead.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be very, very, very close indeed. Nanna Merrald and Astrup Guards of Thilia, who also she won the team bronze on in Hagen earlier on in the year. Well, we've just got one left to go, and at the moment it's Charlotte Dujardin and Gio that lead this 15-strong field on 82.553. In second for Great Britain, Charlotte Fry with Dark Legend on 74.526. Richard Davison, Great Britain third, bubbling on 71.526. Where will Nanna go? Because they were some very impressive scores. I think she's going to just creep slightly ahead of Charlotte Fry and go into second place. But it's going to be by the smallest, the narrowest of margins, I can tell you, if that score goes in. In fact, it's just coming up on our screens now, and the score for Nanna is 75.105, goes second, splits the Brits. Oh, the poet didn't even know it.
There you go.
Splits the Brits, and Nanna for Denmark goes into second on 75.105. Well, that one left to go is a very pleased Nanna leaves the arena. She's been knocking at the door, and no wonder she's had such a good result here. As our last to go is the leader of the Western European League after 3 legs. It is Frederik Wandres. He's a previous leg winner. In fact, he won Olympia back in 2018 with this horse, Duke of Britain FRH, the freestyle. I remember that. I was commentating on it live in Olympia that year.
So was I was with you.
Oh, that's right.
We were together.
Oh, so memorable it was. Of course you were. But he's such a good horse, isn't he? I mean, he's such a lovely horse to watch. And Frederik, he's an amazing rider. He's won a couple of great competitions this year. He's 34, he's ranked 21st in the world. He is the Western European League #1, the 14-year-old gelding. This is owned by Hof Casselman, and I have to say, Duke of Britain FRH, looking fantastic.
Yeah.
And Hof Casselman, of course, the owner of where the European Championships were held in Hagen.
Yeah.
And Hof Casselman does a lot for dressage. Frederik is based there. He rides a lot of decent horses out of the yard as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see Emil as well watching on, and another rider for Hof Casselman too, but based in the UK. This man has been to every Western European League competition so far, riding.
He rode Bluetooth in Madrid.
Bluetooth
yeah.
in Madrid
Yeah.
and in Herning,
Yeah.
where I was, and this horse in Lyon, where you were.
Yeah.
And a really, really good start. And of course, this horse was actually bred in the UK as well by the Pidgeleys.
Yeah.
Another DiMaggio. I'm a big fan of DiMaggio. My girls buy DiMaggio. So.
Nearly.
Nearly.
This always reminds me, it's funny how songs remind you. I mean, we just had Pump Up the Jam. It reminded me of my clubbing days when I was a youth.
What are you going to come out with now,
this Blinding Lights just reminds me of the start of TikTok and
Yes.
lockdown, doesn't it?
With all the dancing.
Yeah.
Don't start.
I'm not. But great music to dance along with this horse.
Definitely, it's got such a good beat, and it really, really fits well. DiMaggios generally have a very good walk, and this horse is no exception. Lovely relaxation, nice big over track, really walking through his whole body. Yeah, 8s and 9s there from the judges.
Yeah, I mean, deserve it.
The judge at B is 7. That's a bit stingy. I'm sorry, judge at B.
Stephen Clark.
Stephen Clark.
Name and shame.
Oh, sorry, Stephen, but I don't agree with that.
He saw it from the back side, though, didn't he? Yeah.
He did, but you should still see the swing over the back, shouldn't you?
I just need to just go back and just say, because I've just suddenly been thinking about it. I said about my clubbing days as a youth. It sounds like I've probably been twice.
Yeah, right. We don't believe
no,
you, Spencer.
literally
We
twice.
don't believe
I've only
you.
seen 2 concerts in my life, and that's Shania Twain and Rod Stewart. I mean, that's how sad I am.
I love Shania Twain.
I know. Well, you had an interview with her.
I was working
so
with her
jealous.
before Tokyo, which was very cool. She's a rider herself. Anyway,
so
we have
jealous.
gone off on a massive tangent now. Super changes from Frederik.
Actually, only just got those in on that diagonal
He did.
line.
They were so big, but actually they were really well placed. And what I love is when a rider actually uses the whole diagonal to do their line of changes. You see a lot of them that are quite short and not really covering the ground, and they just use the middle, or they start too early and then finish really early and then just ride the rest of the diagonal. They were really, really well placed. And again, the same with the 1s. We missed a mistake though in the 2s. There was a mistake. He got 4s and 5s there. We were too busy chatting about Shania, we missed those. So currently sitting in 4th place. It's extremely tight between Nanna, Charlotte Fry and Frederik. He's going to be wanting to increase his standings. He's at the top at the moment. Can he stay there? Lovely Piaf. Much better than the first one, much better in the rhythm. Just coming down into the final halt. Just stepping back again, but a lovely, lovely test there from Frederik. Just a mistake in the 2-time changes, which was such a pity. That pulled him down, but he's also sitting around the 75, so he's up there.
Well, he's going to be thereabouts. I mean, he deserves a good mark with this horse. But the trouble is, you know, when you make a mistake, it drops you right down, and in the quickest of flashes.
Totally.
And Duke of Britain, I mean, he's such a good horse now. Watching him, when we, and I know we were both commentating on him when he won in the
royal we, yeah.
in 2018. It's great to see him. They're not opening the doors, and I'm not sure why they're not opening the doors. He wants to get out of the arena. Literally pushing them out.
Oh, scores.
Oh, it's going to go. It's going to go into second. Is it? It's Charlotte Dujardin leading 82. Nanna goes into third now because Frederik Wandres, Duke of Britain, goes into second very, very marginally on 75.158%. So the leaderboard will be up very shortly, but that is the slow-mo pictures of Charlotte Dujardin and Gio. Or is it? Is that Duke of Britain?
I think it's Duke of Britain
because I can see the white hind leg now.
But 2 chestnuts,
Two
first
chestnuts,
second.
I know. A 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. It is Duke of Britain and Frederik Wandres for Germany who finished second behind Charlotte Dujardin and Gio on that amazing score of 82.553. Nanna in third with Atrup Cecilia for Denmark, 75.105. Charlotte Fry, Dark Legend, Great Britain in fourth. Richard Davison bubbling fifth. And then to the Spanish rider in sixth, Gareth Hughes seventh, Lara Butler eighth, Hayley Watson-Greaves and Rubens Knight in ninth place on 67.790 for Great Britain. And further over the leaderboard, going into equal 10th place, Tommie Visser and Alejandro Asencio Mendez, with the two scores are the same score, 67.605. Caroline Chu in 12th for Singapore, Dane Rawlins, Louise Bell, and then our first to go that was for Greece, the 20-year-old, the young rider, Theodora Levanos, with Donna DiMaggio finishing in 15th place, 66.632. Still a very good score for her, and the top 15 will be back in the freestyle tomorrow. Make sure that you don't miss a hoof beat, because we will be back 7:35. We're live at 7:25 tomorrow evening with a few build-ups and a few get your teeth into and whet your appetite, ready for those 15 in the freestyle tomorrow evening. We're going to be bringing you the prize giving as well, so sit tight. Wait for the prize giving. We've got a couple of interviews coming up. I know that Lee is in the arena. She's going to be interviewing a couple of people, so sit back and relax. We, whilst they clear the arena of the dressage boards and everything to do with the dressage, we will be back very shortly. But a great win for Great Britain, Charlotte Dujardin and Gio. There she is with the rug on, ready for the prize giving, with just sitting there, Charlotte, well, that is in fact Lara Butler on the left-hand side of the screen, but just getting dressed in their finest in what is another first rosette for Charlotte Dujardin and Gio, their last hurrah here at the London International Horse Show. Olympia was so special to Charlotte. This is fast becoming now her next favourite. London, everybody I know loves coming to London to compete in the heart of a city, like we do with a lot of the World Cups. But to come here to London International, the first year it's ever come to the Excel Centre, we walked around. I said through gritted teeth, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, and I didn't want to because I have such a love for the Grand Hall, Olympia. You know, White City has so many fabulous memories over the years, historically, you know, with some amazing performances from some amazing riders going back down, you know, throughout the decades and decades that we've been there. But I'm doing it again through gritted teeth. I like it. I like it here.
Yeah, I really like it as well. As you said, we saw the records broken by Charlotte and Vallegro and Olympia, but I have a feeling we're going to see more records being broken over here. And do you know what? I agree with you. I think it is a really, really, truly amazing venue. And you know, you can see here the warm-up. It's just so much more open for the riders. It's a much nicer atmosphere. And I've spoken to lots of people from both trade stands, riders, competitors, and they said how much easier it is here. The stables are so much nicer. There's much more room in the warm-up because they were dodging pillars.
Yeah, I know they were.
At Olympia.
Well,
and there's a champagne tent here next to the warm-up, so you can watch all of the horses warming up. So, you know, great for spectators as well. A huge shopping village just the other side. And yeah, I just think it's, yeah, I think it's brilliant. I don't like saying that,
no,
but I do.
I know.
I do think it's great, and we're going to see it here for the next few years anyway. Whether it goes back to Olympia, who knows? And yeah, I
think the thing is, you know, being British as well, we don't like change.
We don't, do we? We don't.
No.
I think it's because, you know, so many venues become so familiar. You know where you're going. You know what you're going to be met with. Whereas here, it was just so new, wasn't it? You know, we arrived yesterday. We didn't know where anything was, but actually, everything's so well set out here. And I think the actual arena is going to be much more horse-friendly. The wonderful thing about Olympia was the atmosphere at Olympia, and the fact that, you know, the people that were in the first row could pretty much reach out and touch the horses. But that also, I think, put a few riders off coming here, because it's quite daunting for the horses when the crowd are literally on top of you. I think this might actually encourage a few more riders to come over, because it is quite a trip over to the UK from Europe.
It is, and also I'm just looking around the arena now, and we've got amazing sponsors, boards and everything going around the arena. Of course, the dressage today was brought to you by Horse and Hounds.
Yes.
But we go to the presentation of awards now, and just making their way into the arena. We're running in reverse order of merit, and this is in 8th place. This is Lara Butler, Lara, who finished in 8th place with Christian. 7th one goes to Gareth Hughes. Gareth, who put up a mighty fight. He was leading for quite a long time, and he finishes in 7th place with KK Dominant. And then it is Agusti Elias Lara in 6th for Spain, in the very, very patriotic overreach boots in the yellow and red colours of Spain. As we go then from 6th place to 5th place, it is Richard Davison just out of shot, just coming into the arena now, finishing in 4th place. Charlotte Fry with Dark Legend, putting up a very, very good fight and some really, really high scoring marks in her Grand Prix today. 74.526 for Dark Legend and Charlotte Fry. And then we'll come to the top 3, and they'll come into the arena separately as these guys leave the arena. Sorry.
Leave the arena. It's okay. I'll cover you, Spencer.
Sorry, I
was
just coughing. I think I coughed straight down the microphone. Never a good look. But we're coming then into the top 3. Denmark, Germany and Great Britain. And do you know what, it's also lovely watching these two just do pas de deux piaf, Richard Davison and Agusti just doing pas de deux dressage next to each other with bubbling and the Lusitana as Charlotte Fry leaves on the Vanos lovely Dark Legend. We go then to the top 3 in this Grand Prix, presented by Horse and Hound for 2021, and they've done so for many years. When the dressage first came to Olympia all those years ago, and you forget just how long ago it was, Horse and Hound backed it, and they've done it ever since. This is the Dressage World Cup here in London, the FEI Dressage World Cup. Leg 4 is well and truly underway. The freestyle tomorrow night. Tash and I will be back as we just await the final 3 coming into the arena. It's been brilliant, hasn't it? I mean, we've seen some top-class competition.
We have. We've been extremely lucky. I was going to say, we might not be back if we get told off for joking around too much.
Oh, you've got to have a laugh.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's been so lovely, like we said, to actually be here, to see it in the flesh, to see the horses right in front of us, rather than sitting at home in our pyjamas watching it on a TV screen.
I get dressed up.
Do you?
No.
I was going to say, I'm in my jammies normally.
No, I don't. I'm usually in something warm and comfy. It's not the same. It's just so good being here, isn't it?
It really, really is.
To be here for the inaugural London International Horse Show as well, we can actually say we've been to the first one, which we can't always say, because if I went to the first Olympia...
How old are you?
I know, right? So leading in third place, finishing in third on 75.105. This is Nanna Merrald and Abdurrahman Orthilia for Denmark. A brilliant performance. She's been on the podium many times this season already. Followed in by Frederik Wandres, the leader of the Western European League, with Duke of Britain, FRH 75.158. And there is our winner of the FEI Dressage World Cup for the Grand Prix. It is Charlotte Dujardin once again with Sarah Pitchley's Geo 82.553%.
What a test that was. That was really, really a masterclass of dressage. Wonderful to see this combination together one last time after such an incredible year. And he's still so young, and to be out in front with that score,
his little
truly
ears
remarkable.
pricked. I mean, he just, isn't he? You can tell he's a cheeky little monkey.
But he's got such tiny little ears, hasn't he? He's so cute.
I know, you just want to give him a little cuddle. But we're now going to stand for the national anthem of Great Britain.
Supported by Horse and Hound. It is a home win with Sarah Pitchley's Geo. It is Charlotte Dujardin, Great Britain.
Well, for the very first time here in London for the XL, for the FEI Dressage World Cup, we hear the national anthem of Great Britain. And that is something very special, because it's the first time we've heard the national anthem here in this amazing arena. And we're just going to hear from Charlotte now.
Shrugged her shoulders, so we're soon going to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Huge congratulations. What an incredible way to start the London International Horse Show, not just with the win, but a personal best as well.
Yes, I'm incredibly proud of Gio. I mean, he hasn't done a show since Europeans, so he's had a busy year doing the Olympics and then Europeans, and then coming here, and that's the first time actually he's done that test as well. So to come there and do that and get a personal best, I'm absolutely over the moon.
Just give us all an insight into what it is like to ride a horse like Gio, who comes in with such enthusiasm and energy and class.
Oh, he's my little pocket rocket. I mean, he's always been incredibly special in my eyes, and it's amazing actually how much he's grown up this year. He's learned so much, and this is his first indoor show, so he's not competed inside before. And, you know, he just looks like a true, showman. He comes in, he does the job, and he delivers. And he's incredibly brave, and for that I'm so thankful.
Charlotte, thank you very much. Congratulations. We'll do it all again tomorrow night. Steve, back to you.
Thank you very much, Lee. Yes, the power.
Well, great to hear from Charlotte and her thoughts. Her pocket rocket, as she called him. I think we called him a number of times a pocket rocket during a test.
Yeah, absolutely. He's so diddy, isn't he? But he really is such a little powerhouse, and that wonderful hind leg is just, it really, really was such a treat to watch.
It certainly was. There's a presentation of awards. There is Dickie Waygood, along with the president of the ground jury for the dressage. Dickie, who's been so monumental in his role, not only in dressage but eventing as well, and his involvement with para, and what he does for the sport is truly amazing. He manages to juggle so many things all at once. Beautifully turned out, that French plait, that he has in his forelock. Gio, just look at him looking around. He's like, oh, look at me, I love a camera. Bottle of Tattinger champagne presented by Raphael Saleh, the French judge, our president of the grand jury at sea. To Charlotte.
Well done, Charlotte.
Nice bottle of bubbles.
I wonder how long it's going to take to pop that.
Well, I think Sarah will be pocketing that as the new owner.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very sad, and I know Charlotte, I spoke to her recently when we were at Your Horse Live, and I spoke to her about coming here, and she said that she was bringing Gio before it was announced publicly, and she was very honest and open and told me there she was bringing him. What I think is very humbling is that we saw her get so emotional about how much she misses Bellegro, and she's going to miss this little chap as well. She's got some very nice horses. She's got a very nice grey mare that's also coming up through the ranks, and she's now at Grand Prix. Don't think Charlotte's not got horses, because she's got a number of good horses coming out as they move off on their lap of honour. Tash, this has been something very special.
It really, really has. We have had such a treat today to watch Charlotte and Gio do their thing, and to see Frederik and Nanna. It's just been such a wonderful morning of dressage, and I am so excited for the freestyle now.
Yeah, I cannot wait, and to see them in here in the Grand Prix today, and then watch the freestyle as that unfolds tomorrow evening. It's going to be something very special to watch, and I'm sure, as you said there's a sellout crowd tomorrow. I hope you can join us, everybody. 7:25 tomorrow evening. 7:35 is the first horse down the centre line for our 5 judges in the freestyle. Charlotte amongst them, the winner, and a PB 82.553. Will she be in the 90s come tomorrow evening?
Ooh, I think she could well be.
Yeah,
I think she's going to be close anyway.
I think she will be, because I know these two, when they do their freestyle, is something very, very special. Charlotte's going off on one last lap of honour, and the crowd really getting behind her, and there aren't that many people here. But as I think we go back to the great William Shakespeare said something along the lines of, she may not be big, but she is fierce, and that goes to the crowd here as well.
Absolutely.
You know, they're might not be the biggest crowd, but they're very enthusiastic, they're very keen. It's early, I mean, it was still 10:50 in the morning.
Yeah.
We've already done 15 horses dressage.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been such a great morning. These guys have been in for a real treat, but as I said, the crowds will be full on Friday night for the freestyle, and this guy is going to be showing off to the max.
Absolutely, he will be, and we hope you can join us tomorrow evening live on FEI TV, courtesy of Clip My Horse. Make sure you tune in. 7:25 Greenwich Mean Time. Natasha Baker and myself will be back. But for now, from the whole team here at the London International Horse Show for the FEI Dressage World Cup, leg 4 of 8, it's goodbye from both of us, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
At the end of this performance, as it is now, to collect your free tickets, and you can see us a little later on for the extreme driving. We've got jumping, and as you can see up on the screen, that's all that you can enjoy this afternoon. The Kennel Club, of course, with the dogs competing here for the agility, Shallow Pony Grand National, musical ride of the Household Cavalry, Santi Serra, and the Santa Stakes, and of course, a sprinkle of Christmas magic. Join us a little later on. We start the afternoon performance at high noon, 12 o'clock.
I don't know if you can still hear us. It's Spencer and Natasha. I've spoken to you many times before. He's gone off talk back
At
now.
least you remember the right one.
It's Spencer. You know, we've spoken many times.
He's very forgetful. No,
Thank
not
you very
you.
much
I mean,
anyway.
Spencer's very forgetful.
Yeah, I am. Thank you very much.
You forget, yeah.
Yes. No, I know. Thanks very much anyway, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks so much. It's been. Ah, good memories. Amazing. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Bye.
He remembers me from London 2012. He was directing there. But he doesn't remember you. It's quite funny.
I'm gonna turn it up if I can have it that way now.
It's quite funny when you can hear the directors laughing at us too.
I know.
I am busting the balloon. Yeah.
I've got to go back and do these space stations now.
They can still hear us.
Apparently they can still hear us, so I think you need to mute our comms. I think I want it like that. I think I want mine like that.
Right. If I just get the button this one. Turn it.